still here, don't worry Ted, we're all good. Alright, Ted's ready. I think we've got everything. Right, here we go. Let's ride, Teddy. Ready, Teddy. Oh. Ladies, gents and teddy bears, I'm still here, don't worry. How are we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Hope we're all good. Welcome to your favourite, one of your favourite bases and places. It is indeed the home of the 48th Fighter Wing. That is indeed Fighter Town, Suffolk. It is RAF Lakenheath. Welcome to the show. I hope you're all ready to go. There's pretty much everything that I can hear in the background all started up, including F-35s and F-15E Strike Eagles. We have the A variant for the F-35s here. And of course, if you're new to this, this is a United States Air Force in Europe base, to be absolutely exact and precise. That's what the letter E stands for. My name's Nikos. I'll be your cameraman and commentator and historian. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby, on the controls. Hope we're all good and well. And welcome to the show. And Ted and I just were taking the opportunity while we were waiting for the starts to have a bit more digestive reading of the history that surrounds and learning a little bit more about the 8th Air Force and the 9th Air Force as well, and the tactical command of the 9th Air Force, which of course the 48th Fighter Group were involved with. They were allocated to the 70th Fighter Wing because of course during the Second World War the 48th were a group, not as a wing status. So it was quite interesting to read that, really, and to remember that as well. If you are going to be researching the 48th Fighter Wing and their history, do be mindful to look at the actual title, because you can get there was a 48th Training Squadron, which has actually got nothing to do with the 48th Fighter Wing itself. So don't go down that loop. Don't go down there. But the 48th, when they moved to the European Theatre of Operations, they moved to RAF Ibsley in 1944. It was just the 3 squadrons, the 492nd, 493rd and 494th. They were part of the 9th Fighter Command, which is the 9th Tactical Air Command. And the 9th Tactical Air Command, underneath them, had the 70th Fighter Wing, which of course the 48th Fighter Group was with. There we go. The original activation of the 48th, they were the Fighter Bomb Squadron Light when they first started out life. That's right, the Light. They started off with 4 squadrons as well, but we'll talk about that throughout the day. If we're going to stay dry enough, that is. Oh, dearie me. But it's amazing to think about the legacy of so many airfields. For those who don't know, during the Second World War, at its highest, there were around 600 military airfields. Now, amongst them, a good 160 to maybe 200 were allocated to the United States Army Air Forces. Some of them were built for them itself, for their use solely, and designated to the United States Army Air Forces. So let's just give you the grand scale. So we're looking at around about 444, all the 4s, 444 Royal Air Force stations in the UK, and then about 160 or so United States. Wow, it's quite amazing. It's quite a staggering number. And of all the sacrifices from both, it's nice to have a fighter town still here to represent the fighter groups, the main stronghold of the United States Army Air Forces. Of course, they had their bomb groups and their fighter groups as well alike. Absolutely amazing. But the history for the 48th goes back all the way to the 15th of January 1941. They did start off life as the 48th Bombardment Group Light, which you'll see a letter L in brackets. They also had D for Dive, which they were a year later. They were the 48th Bomb Group Dive. The squadrons take on that title as well, but as squadrons, of course. The 4 squadrons that first activated with them was, interestingly, not the numbers that you associate today, the 55th, 56th and 57th, along with a 9th Reconnaissance Squadron. So the 55th, 56th and 57th were actually Bomb Squadrons Light. A year later, this changed to the Bomb Squadrons Dive. Now the 9th Reconnaissance Squadron became the 88th Bomb Squadron Dive as well, using the B-18 Bolo that was unique to them. And then a year after that, in 1943, 15th of August of 1943, the group actually had a new designation. They added the title Fighter. They became the 48th Fighter Bomber Group, and the squadrons were renumbered to the 493rd Fighter Bomb Squadron, the 494th Fighter Bomb Squadron, the 495th Fighter, the 494th, 495th. So they were renumbered. So the 55th became the 492nd, the 56th became the 493rd, the 57th became the 494th, and the 88th, which were the 9th Reconnaissance Squadron, became the 495th. There were various nicknames that I've been trying to trace. From what I could tell, the 492nd have retained their Mad Hatter's original emblem as well. Their insignia, definitely from 1943, I could see there. In fact, dates back all the way to 1941. In fact, why don't I just show you? Let me just show you. I've got, they're black and white at the moment. They definitely had the emblems that I'm about to show you, which is quite spectacular, really, if you think about the age. Let's have a little look at that for you. Okay, what else? Do you know what? I probably haven't got it with me, you know. I probably haven't got it with me. Oh, yeah, I have. Of course I have. It's Nikos, isn't it? Ted Coningsby channel. What am I talking about? Just to give you an idea, you may be familiar with some of these. So there's the 55th Bomb Squadron had that. Now, you may be familiar with that. So that's dating back to when they were the 55th. So this goes back to 1941. Now, you may have seen this for the Grim Reapers as well. This emblem that was used quite often. And that dates back to when they were the 56th Bombardment Squadron. The Panthers, you can see quite clearly that they were the Panthers in their early days in 1941. Now, I'm still working on it. It's not a aardvark. I am going to go with a type of bird. I'm going to redraw it for the... Well, they were the 9th. Okay, now, reconnaissance usually has some sort of cat with a camera. But then they were the 88th. But in 1943, a very pixelated picture of what I thought was a snout. They're actually wings over this end. So I'm going to go with... I don't know whether they were eagles. I don't know whether they were ravens. I'm not really sure. But what I can tell you, I'm going to go with a type of bird. But we'll go with that. But that's the history there. I've also taken the liberty of showing you the diverse amounts. It looks like our 493rd had the mostest. Mind you, they are the finest. No, they're the Grim Reapers, sorry. Looks like the 493rd probably had the mostest of aircraft. There's a little tally there of the types and various aircraft that was flown. These little ticks here. I've kind of found a few more over here, which is why they're not in order. These should be somewhere over here in this gap over here, because you've got the A-18 Shrike, the B-18 Bolo. The B-18 Bolo was unique to the 88th, which were then changing to the 495th. So bear with me if you're not too familiar with all of this and what all this means. So this is how my research goes to show that you've got a few of the aerial victories here. Now, these may look low because the 9th Air Force, we've all heard of the mighty 8th, but the 9th Air Force, their role was really to support the troops on the ground. Now, whether that be through aircraft and taking out gun positions, close air support, or whether using the C-47 Skytrain, which we saw yesterday, which was a beaut, to support the army and to para-drop them through parachutes, etc. So that is also was part of their role. We're talking RAF Ibbsley, we're talking, you know, so many 9th Air Force stations, not just the mighty 8th. Now, the mighty 8th, with their fighter groups, of course, they took care of a lot of escorting missions, which you may be familiar with the term ramrod, which was actually an operational term for escorting bombers with the United States Army Air Forces. But there we go. Just a quick introduction there. And here comes trouble. Some really strange light wind that I can't actually hear. So just a quick one. Today's squadrons, there are 4 of them, combat-ready fighter squadrons. The 492nd Fighter Squadron, the Mad Hatters, locally known as the Bowlers. They fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. Guns up, Bowlers, what up? Next up, we got the 493rd, who in 2022 transitioned to this aircraft, the Grim Reapers. And they fly the F-35A that you can see on the screens here. Next up, the finest, baddest, meanest, the 494th Fighter Squadron, the Panthers, bleed red. They fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. Last but not least, making history, not only for USAF, but for here, are the 495th Fighter Squadron, who've been inactive for quite a long time. If you add it up, it's about 63 years. And they are indeed the Valkyries, and I say making history because on the 15th of December 2021 they arrived at Lakenheath with a very new aircraft. And the last one they did in 1991 was the F-111 Aardvark, and they are here flying the F-35A. Now, when I say history, not only did it make Lakenheath history as the first 5th generation aircraft to be here, but also making USAF the very first unit to operate. They made history by that, becoming the first F-35A unit to operate under the USAF wing. The other wings, they got F-16s as well, and F-15s, that kind of thing. But here, right. Today, we speak about Air Forces. Today, the 48th Fighter Wing operate under the United States Air Force in Europe, which is part of the 3rd Air Force. And the 3rd Air Force HQ is also the HQ for United States Air Forces in Africa. They're based in Germany at Ramstein Air Base. There we go, let's ride the 5th generation stealth multi-role Butte with a huge turbo fan. The F-35A, here we go, right in town. Almost a thumbnail shot there. Here we go, right. Bit of rain again. So welcome to the show, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Don't forget to hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, let's ride. Sorting out some measures for the rain. Got a bit of rain coming now, so there we go. So the F-35A 5th generation stealth multi-role fighter with its huge Pratt & Whitney F-135 PW-100 huge turbofan producing 43,000 pounds of thrust in just a single afterburning engine, the world's most powerful engine in a single jet engine configuration for a fighter. Absolutely incredible. Maximum speed at Mach 1.6 has a very, very extensive loiter time. That's what it's been designed to do, to be getting the job done undetected until it's a bit too late for our enemies. It has 4 internal hardpoints, 6 external hardpoints. The F-35 can be fitted with external missile railings. And you can add 3 on each wing as well with that. Absolutely wonderful. Now, the traditional tail code for Lakenheath, it is indeed LN, but you may be seeing one with WA. Now, although it stands for Western Airlines and dedicated to non-Lakenheath, which is, I believe it's Nellis, it is indeed a Lakenheath aircraft. Hang on. So yeah, LN, the tail code for Lakenheath, wasn't always Lakenheath. Sorry, wasn't always LN. Get my words up, may have had too much tea. So LN is a tail marking system, which is of course a very traditional system for the United States Army Air Forces, a system that they added. They were quite late into the Second World War, and they found it very useful to have a marking system for various bomb groups, divisions. But for Lakenheath, it wasn't always LN. I'll give you the rundown. When the 48 Fighter Wing arrived in January of 1960 with their F-100D Super Sabres, they used a 2-digit system, L for Lakenheath, and a second letter for the squadron, LR for the 492nd, LS for the 493rd, and LT for the 494th. Yep, there wasn't a 495th. They didn't come until 1977. But in 1972, they changed that 2-digit system to LK, okay, for all the aircraft. Okay, so LK was the tail marking to denominate Lakenheath, okay? But a year later, but not even 12 months in service, those Phantoms, although bearing LK, changed to LN. So LN has been the tail code for Lakenheath since 1973. Now the WA is for Nellis Air Force Base. I believe it stands for Western Airlines, or a tradition from there. But it is indeed going to be a Lakenheath jet. It's just trying to paint up a 5th generation stealth fighter with all the Lockheed Martin radar absorbing material. It's not going to be that easy just to whack a bit of paint on there. But a system that was adopted from the Second World War. For example, we got Alpha Foxtrot, which is a US Academy of CO. AK for Elmendorf. You may see I'm going to just pick out some at random. DR for Davis Montham Air Force Base. ED for Edwards Air Force Base. FC for Fairchild Air Force Base. FF, that's Foxtrot for Langley Air Force Base. FT for Pope Air Force Base. HL for Hill Air Force Base. HO for Holloman. HT for Holloman Air Force Base of the 46 TGs. LA for Barksdale. LF for Luke Air Force Base. MO for Mountain Home. MT for Minot. OT for Eglin. Also got OT for Cannon Air Force Base as well. RS for Ramstein, which you see the C-130s. SJ for Seymour Johnson. AV for Aviano. ZZ for Kadena Air Base in Japan. So that just gives you an idea of an identification code. I hope those are still in date, because you know me and my aging mind, I may have got some info from 1963. Here we go, let's rag. Give it some, here we go. It's time for Pratt & Whitney. It's time for Lockheed Martin. It's time to ride. Woo, yeah. there, which are quite low, unfortunately, but there we go. At least finally we got some movement indeed, and a lot of noise as well, which is good because that's what we like. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Lots of power there from the Pratt & Whitney F-135 PW engine. 18,000 pounds payload on the A variant, 29,000 pound empty, which when you put it like that, it does have a good punch, good power there. Hasn't quite got fully loaded, fully fueled, hasn't quite got the thrust to weight ratio of the Eurofighter Typhoon, but that said, with 50% of fuel, that's how you can make up the thrust to weight ratio a little bit more punchier, to somewhere along the lines of 1.06, around about that, 1.03, 1.06, thereabouts. But an amazing piece of kit, which is the world's most advanced currently multi-role fighter in its existence, especially when it can hover. Yes, Barry, how you doing?
Not too bad. I could have cried the other day.
Okay, well, I hope not. Are you alright?
Well,
what happened?
Said to me in passing, they've shipped an aerodrome.
They've shut one?
Yeah.
Oh, which one? Right.
44th Bomber.
They've closed it?
Yeah, Liberators during the war.
Mm.
And I went over there. Oh dear, I could have cried.
Oh no.
There's a little bit of the main runway that's still got the 06 at one end.
Yeah. For
the number. And at the other end, you still got the 12. They haven't covered that up. But what used to be the officers' mess, well, in later days was the clubhouse for the private planes. All these lovely murals on the wall.
Oh no, yeah, that happened to me not long ago, mate. That happened to me not long ago. I went to Curtin in Lindsay. So I went to go and see all the buildings all gone. Yeah. All just a pile of bricks on the rubble.
And I went in the hangar, yeah, full of tractors. Last time I went in that hangar, there was a D1 Fokker triplane.
Really? Oh wow!
Bloke built it himself from the original plans. He's a pilot for KLM. The only thing that's not original, obviously the guns.
I think
they're mock-ups.
I think I may have one. A D1. I might have one. It's funny you say that.
And the engine, it's meant to be a rotary engine, but he put a radial in, so it looks good, but it's not.
It's red.
That's one Richo.
It is.
Yeah. Baron.
It is a DR1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do actually have one.
I was looking through a book the other day that my missus gave me, and it was British Forces aircraft, 1939.
Wow.
To 1945, and I thought, well, there's not going to be a lot in here. Until I went to the Gloucester Gladiator.
Okay, yep.
Do you know they made one that was a monoplane? A Gladiator.
I've heard about this.
Only two were ever made. They were prototypes, and they flew, but what their job was within the Royal Air Force, they were a gun platform for testing guns.
Right.
But you can imagine a Gladiator. Well,
yeah.
In fact, you look at the tail of a Hawker Hurricane, you can see it's the same family.
Yeah, the Fury, the Sea Fury, Hawker.
Yeah.
Sea Fury, right? Yeah, I'm sure it was that.
Amazing. I didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? I did come across that, but yeah. Let's have a look at this little beaut.
What is that one?
This is a Wellington.
Oh, is it a Wellington? Oh, yes. Yeah, seen that. Yeah.
The first plane here.
Was it?
Yes, that's and Mildenhall as well. And what's ironic about Mildenhall, it was 99 Squadron. I like this little story because it's quite easy to remember. It was with 99 Squadron at Mildenhall, and their markings were indeed LN, which is really easy to remember.
Wow.
Yeah, 99 Squadron. Yeah, it was the first one here. It was actually number 20 OTU that came here with these, and then 149 came over in 41 with this. and then 199, and then they both converted to the Sterling 1 and 3. They failed the Sterling 2. Did it have Pratt & Whitney? I dread to think. I think it may have had Pratt & Whitney's in there or something. It was a different engine. That's why you don't really hear the Sterling Mark 2. It didn't help. They thought the more powerful engines would help, but
and it didn't.
No.
Shipton is famous in the fact that there was a Lancaster was hit by flak on a raid, and then 2 German night fighters, ME-110s.
Okay.
They latched onto it and the reason they latched onto it was on fire.
Right. Yeah, that's easy to spot.
And they both went in and really give it a beating, and the pilot was horrendously injured. Horrendous. But he brought it back, and he got the VC.
Oh, he did? At Shipton?
That's where he landed. And if you look at a map, coming back from Holland, it's got to be the nearest aerodrome to the north coast.
Right, I gotcha.
But anyway, he landed at Shipton. And
it wasn't Jackson, was it?
I don't know.
Oh no, Jackson was the one that wing walked the Lancaster.
I want to put a fire out.
That was at Metheringham. Yeah, that was Metheringham. I think he did get a VC for that. Yes, I'm pretty sure I covered that story. He used an axe to sort of get his way, but then he got the extinguisher and he put the flame out on the wing of the Lancaster, but then night fighters came and he had to cut himself loose. He got shot at while on there, but he did land. He landed with broken legs and stuff, but he saved it.
What are we due for anything spectacular today?
Nothing's. I don't think so.
You just came on the off chance.
Yeah, because they're not flying tomorrow, I believe.
Did you get any of the vertical takeoffs?
Not today.
Nah.
Not today.
I'm going to have a slow walk.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
Bit of a shock. My next door neighbour, but one, is my age. He's Chris, and he's a fanatic about old Triumph motorbikes.
Okay,
but when
nice.
I say a fanatic, he will get a basket case.
Yeah.
And when he's 2 years with it, when he's finished it, it will look like a new 1930s Triumph.
Wow.
Very, very nice.
Nice.
Bike. Anyway, he kept having headaches, and then his leg kept going into spasm, and he had no control of it. Brain tumour.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, he went to, is it Attenbrooks?
Yeah, Attenbrooks.
They removed half the tumour, but in the process, paralysed it.
Oh no. Oh dear. Oh.
So, I don't know, would you suffer a twitching
I don't know.
leg,
So it's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is. Anyways, at home, I went to talk to him the other day. He hasn't lost his marbles, but he's obviously got nothing from the waist down.
Oh gosh.
Just shows you how fragile life is.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, I'll pop back to see you.
Take care, buddy. Good to see you. And if you're wondering,
anything from the burger man?
I'm all right, but thank you for asking. Thank you. There we go. There's the DR1. Look at this. The triplane Richthofen's legendary. I mean, this is making a debut here today. Not one that you'd see here at Lakenheath, but there were biplanes over the airspace many years ago. In fact, during the First World War, there was indeed further afield, further afield somewhere in the distance, there was a weapons range here. It was a bombing range in this vicinity. Couldn't tell you exactly where it was. Maybe some research I'll have to do, but there were biplanes using the range, dropping bombs. It was a bombing range during the First World War here, and as you know, our regulars would know that Lakenheath also served as a decoy airfield, a fake airfield as well. So it's got so much history, and I could go on even down to the Cretaceous period. I know, right? There's a word, because of a river that's an extinct river in the glacial period, leaving behind remnants of what's left, which is why it's got a lot of sand here. You may have noticed, and I think that's probably topography where it gets its name from. But anyway, long story, we'll come to that in just a moment. But there it is, the Fokker the DR1. Amazing. The Fokker DR1, sorry. Fokker DR1, amazing triplane there, and that was Richthofen's legendary aircraft there. Now, it wouldn't be Lakenheath without the F-15E Strike Eagles, and I can hear them in the distance. I can hear the nozzles, so I believe they'll be taxiing out very shortly as well. So welcome to the show, and I bet you weren't expecting a Fokker DR1 on the show there now. Thanks for that bit of info on the WA there, Perry. The Western Airlines meaning WA, which apparently was a misconception. W was for weapons, and different weapons schools had a code, ABC, so there would have been a WB and WC. This was consolidated to just WA in the early 70s. So there you go. And, oh yeah, forgot our good old Aspen's Bravo tail marking for Beale Air Force Base, of course.
How do you think I got in this country? How do you think I got in this country? I didn't record it, yeah. I'm going to use my phone.
So welcome to the show, ladies, gents and teddy bears. Hope we're all good and well. Welcome to the show. So yes, I've been looking at a lot of the prehistory, shall we say, of the vicinity. There was a huge settlement here, for those that don't know as well. I'm not sure we're going to get time to go through all the details today. It could be a short-lived stream today. Could be just a set of departures from the F-15s. We just don't know. Hopefully, what does matter is the fact that this area stays dry. That'll be good, wouldn't it? Amazing, amazing, amazing. So yeah, welcome to the show, Ian Wright, Margot, Doncaster Lass, how you doing? Matt Crossan, Alex Blackcat, Aspen, LC, Alex Raven, Wibbs, EP65, I've got Blue Lightning Bird, Alan Q Dieter, who's got the Fokker DR1 on the list to paint, Chris Bloxham. So we've had 6 F-35s go out, or was it 5? It was 4 on the right, wasn't it? And then already lost count. You don't get many plane spotted mathematicians, so do you? I wonder if we had, was that 6 or 5 we've had already today? So my name's Nikos, I'm your cameraman, historian and commentator, and of course Ted Coningsby on the controls. There he is, and a very warm welcome. Good day, good evening, good afternoon and a good morning wherever you're watching from in the world. Here he is now, just so all is good. So I hope you're all well, ladies, gents, teddy bears. So yes, lots of history in the vicinities here, and it's dates back what I could find, and not only the 6 F-35, yeah, it was, wasn't it? It definitely 6 F-35. So it was 4 and a 2 ship. Right, all is good. Welcome to the show, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Right, what we're going to do, we'll give you a quick quick guide. Is there a quick history? See, the thing is with Lakenheath, it needs a lot of attention with what's been going on. It has so much history. Oi, oi, you're right. It has a lot of history. How we doing? Good to be on the show. You're right.
You missed a good day yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday was good, yeah.
It was good at Coningsby.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah. You don't get C-47s here. It's a good day everywhere you go. Got to have a good time wherever you go. Ladies, gents, teddy bears, welcome to the show, and I hope you're all feeling well and positive. Welcome, 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 ladies, gents, teddy bears. It is an absolute pleasure to bring you the vast history here at Lakenheath. It is. You can go on for quite a long time with the history. Don't forget, order some beanie hats online there now. You can go on and go back 10,000 years, 12,000 years. You can go a long, long way. As humans, what do we need to live? We need water, right? And I'll get to that in just a moment. There was plenty of it pre the glacial period. There was a river here that's extinct. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about some sort of misconception of Maid's Cross as well, because there's a lot of people that think there's some bomb craters and things, and I'll get to that in just a moment. There was a river, the River Bitham. Believe it was from Nottinghamshire, working its way around the Midlands as well, I believe. It was quite big, and it worked its way through here. It did cut across here and Mildenhall and out to the North Sea. But it's gone now. It due to the glacial period. I think it goes back to the Cretaceous period as well. But when that thawed out, basically it left all this sand that's here. So that explains that part. Okay. Now with the craters at Maid's Cross, we've got all these civilizations that came here through time. It was lived on, and one of the things we need to survive is water. And if I just show you the tower, the current control tower, all right, which is here. There was an original control tower over this side, okay? It was over that side. Now, where that control tower was, there was actually it's still there today. There is a natural spring, and that's great for survivability, right, for humans. And the thing is, through that time, 8,000 years ago, we also had civilizations that were here mining for flint. There was chalk, flint, and I'm just trying to think of the other one. Chalk, flint, and there was something else. I totally forgot the mineral now. It's been one of those days already. But yeah, with that mining, and the reason for all that, okay, they did introduce gaming in the 18th century and also into the 19th century as well. They introduced rabbits here. Now, as in having a controlled section of them with rabbit warrens. Now, the Normans brought them in the 11th century. The rabbits were brought over by the Normans for food. All right, so rabbits they kind of multiply overnight, and with them making all the burrows and digging away, making the warrens and everything like that, it would leave a very unstable ground. Now, with all the mining for flint and gravel, that's the one I was looking for, would leave it quite unstable. So what's left is a huge crater over there. Pretty much, well, it would have been natural, but with the addition of rabbits making that ground unstable anyway. So you've got that period. So I'm working my way through time here. Now, water, again, is very important. You look at various megalithic monuments and settlements, and if you look at the burials of Stonehenge, I know what has this got to do with aviation. It will do on the military side of things, because there was a big stronghold connection with military here. So you've got the Normans bringing in the rabbits, and that brings on to the gaming and the rabbit warrens that were here 18th, 19th century as we started to work our way here. Okay, now the 5th, 6th century Anglo-Saxons were here. There was a natural water supply, natural springs here, which is great. You've got and the rivers that I wonder what was left of certain rivers from here. That one I don't know, but they did have a natural water resource. So the Saxons were here, and there's so many burials and around us. In fact, this car park that we're in, the official car park, is built on a Anglo-Saxon or medieval earthwork. There's actually a ring ditch. If you have a look at Stonehenge, even Avebury, have a look at the ditch. Stone circles were made in a way their design would have the stones sat on top and a ditch around it. That was quite common. There are some bell barrows around, dotted about here. And to let you know how many in total, they found probably around about 427 graves here. They made them what was called bell barrows, round barrows, which would have an individual buried in there. There was also long barrows as well. Long barrows are communal burials where you'd have more than one person buried in there. And they could be used for an extensive period of time. Now, I can go on to detail about their beliefs, how they were aligned. Not that type of show, but I'm going to get to the point. Now, just to let you know, in 1959, I know we're jumping up, but there were the first excavations here. A famous lady under the name of Lady Briscoe. Now, she founded the Mildenhall Museum. She got a thumbs up from the Suffolk County Council Archaeological Unit, and she founded the museum, and she carried out the first excavations here. It took about 40 years or so for the next stage of things to find. Now, this is where we find stuff. Now, archaeology is very fascinating. When you find human remains, it can tell you a lot about who they interacted, who they were, etc. They found about 200 or so at one area of the... I mean, they found so many medieval remains here. It's unreal. Burials for one. A total of 427 graves were found. This was because of the dormitories that were going to be built in the early 2000s. In fact, they started to do the groundworks from 1997. When you do groundworks, that's the best time to carry out excavations because it's already there. And there's where you come in on the A1065, where the main entrance is, just before, you may notice they're not new now, but they look kind of like, oh, these are newish from 2000. Amazing. And there's also a baseball or an athletic stadium there. Around that area, that's where they found way over 200 graves there. 6 men buried with swords, 2 with horses, 3 minstrels, that's men buried with liras. 1 man, they found remains of a quiver of arrows. So there was a lot of, you could look at it as defence. There was, earthworks could also be a defensive measurement. There were 96 females, glass beads, jewellery, everything that you could find. Jewellery is great. Jewellery is great because it'll tell you who they interacted with. If you find some sort of Greek urn, then you know how on earth did that get there. Anyway, long story short, they did find a lot of weapons, and 1 man that they found 5'10", dated to the 5th, 6th century, buried with a shield, sword, horse, dressed up, whatever was left. And they named him the Lakenheath Warrior, and that is the link. And I love the link that it had a military connection here. And I believe there were, you remember the Boudica. I think there was an old remains of an old Roman road, or Boudica came across here at one point. Have a look at her as well. A major figure during the Roman times for the to rebel against the Romans. But that's another story that I came across. So it is quite fascinating, and you can find the Lakenheath Warrior in the Mildenhall Museum, which is why I love bringing it up. Believe it's temporarily closed until maybe next month, is it? Just check on their website. When I say Mildenhall Museum, I mean the actual town itself. 18th century, as I mentioned, the gamekeeping, rabbit warrens as well, and there was indeed Lakenheath Warren, there was Eriswell Lodge, there was so many of these fancy buildings as well, which is quite nice as well. And the thing to remember as well, which I'll tell you the story, which is kind of linked, not through the lineage of the Mad Hatters, but there's a story about the Mad Hatters. So the bowlers, hence the bowler hat, the Mad Hatters, that's because of they like to wear headgear related to the country that they're in. Now, Brandon or Thetford, they had a shop, a hat shop. Now, because there were so many rabbits around for food, they also used the rabbit felt and for decorating hats and having the lining on them, etc. The thing is, to bond rabbit felt, you'd use mercury. It's not the best thing in the world to have in your bloodstream, but it did. And when mercury goes in your bloodstream, when you wore the hat, hence the term Mad as a Hatter. And I love that link because we got a squadron with the nickname Mad Hatters. I think that is absolutely Awesome, isn't it? So 1918 and well, first of all, let's go back a little bit to 1912, 1914 and 1916. Around this area, especially in 1916, there were military airfields here of the Royal Flying Corps that were training airmen, United States Army Air Corps airmen, that's American airmen, training them here in this vicinity for the First World War as well. So that's quite amazing. And in this vicinity, as I said, this was used as a bombing range, and I showed you the Fokker DR1 there. That was kind of cool. Was it here? I don't know. We could have had a triplane over here. I'm not 100% sure if we did, but how cool would that be if there was such a thing? 1934, 5 miles in that direction as the backwards crow flies, RAF Mildenhall opened, and it was 99 Squadron that were there first with, I think it was November, gone to Mildenhall for a while. They started operating the Handley Page Hayford, the huge biplane. 2 years after that, this direction, about 5 miles, is RAF Feltwell. They had the Harrows, and they finally had the Wellington bomber from 1938, along with Mildenhall, who were the first. You may have heard me talk to Barry. In 1938, Mildenhall were the first to receive the Wellington bomber. Feltwell had the Wellington, and also here eventually, which I will get to in just a moment. So around 1938, the Suffolk skies and Ely, Cambridgeshire, the Vickers Wellington bomber was dominating the skies because it was built in the same specification as the Handley Page Hampden, which was more dominating the skies back in Ted's County, Lincolnshire. So we got that as well. 1937 saw 5 Group Bomber Command form at Mildenhall, but they switched. They moved. They went to St Vincent's Hall in Grantham. They switched, and here was under number 3 Group of Bomber Command. 1939, just a little bit of info. The actual village of Lakenheath, they actually raised money, which was not uncommon for that time. They actually raised money for a Spitfire. In fact, Bristol Blenheim's of 139 Jamaica Squadron, which is where the name Jamaica comes from because there was a Jamaican newspaper, they actually were raising money to fund aircraft for the Royal Air Force, and indeed Blenheim's of 139, who were nearly totally wiped out. It was a newspaper called the Gleamer, and I came across a lot of posters for fundraising. They raised, I think it was about, I've got the cost here. They raised nearly £9,000 for a Spitfire, usually around about £10,000 of 1939's money for a Spitfire, or thereabouts anyway. 1940, so Lakenheath was actually selected because it's right bang in the middle of lots of places and bases. In 1940, I'm going to show you this building over here. Lakenheath was actually chosen to become a decoy airfield. It was not uncommon to have decoy airfields. What is a decoy airfield? It is literally a fake airfield, dressed up to look like the real thing. The reason why I'm showing you this, because this is the nearest I've got to almost the original building. What I want you to do is to imagine a blast wall in front of that, and then I want you to cover it with some earth, all right? Almost looks like a barrow. Now I've got a drawing of one here, which I can show you. What's the point of it? The point is, well, of all the anti-aircraft measures that you can put in place, it just takes one bomb to completely disable your whole airfield on the runway. So a decoy airfield, fake hangars, and yes, they had fake planes here made out of plywood. In fact, the plywood, I believe, was from Eriswell nearby here. And what you got to do, you got to make it look like Mildenhall. This was a decoy airfield to protect Mildenhall, so they had fake Wellington bombers. They chose Wellingtons because Mildenhall were using Wellingtons. So you know that door that I showed you over there? Well, imagine there's the blast wall. You go in, there'll be 2 officers operating the decoy airfield. There was fake hangars, cloths, they paint all sorts of things. Now inside the operations room you got a switchboard. Now there were 2 types of decoy airfields. K site was the code for daytime, and Q site was for nighttime. Does it matter? Yes it does, because at night it requires a few more things like lights and fake taxiing aircraft at night. The officers that would be able to switch shifts, yes, their goal was literally, hello, my job is to try and get bombed. That is exactly what they tried to do. Not the best inspiration to get out of bed, but hey, you saved lives. There was actually I believe even during Operation Starfish, and I've gone over on a tangent in some ways, Operation Starfish, I think only 4 civilians, I know I say only, you know, one death is a mother's heartache, I get that, but considering we were at war, there were only 4 deaths of decoy airfields as far as I can come across. But anyway, a switchboard to operate the lights, and if you go to here, this is why I've got this section here. There is a ladder, but obviously because it's an overhead sight shot, there's a ladder, and the officer would get up and actually move this spotlight to make it look like taxiing aircraft. Very clever. Did it work? Well, let me tell you something. Lakenheath was actually attacked 5 times. So it saved Mildenhall 5 times, ladies, gents, teddy bears. That is absolutely amazing, isn't it? How cool is that, eh? Amazing to think about that. So decoy airfield, but it took a year later. It took 1 year later for the base to actually be built. They actually built an actual in November 1940. It was pretty much finished, and in 1941 the first residence was actually an operational training unit. And they came all the way from, I'm going to show you the aircraft, they came all the way from Lossiemouth. Why all that way? Well, the thing is, Lossiemouth was going to be chosen to become quite a good location for training. But the thing is, it started to take a role in a more operational role. So there's our Vickers Wellington, the first aircraft to operate here from number 20 operational training unit. The thing is, even Guy Gibson went to Lossiemouth, and they were taking part in lots of mine laying. The code was beautifully named gardening. Now, gardening is not your usual, let's plant some pretty roses. No. What it is, gardening is actually dropping mines for the German, so that it could annoy the German fleet and any other enemy that would try to use the sea. So mine laying was actually quite important. They actually tried to modify the Hamdens as well at the time to become a TB, a torpedo bomber variant as well. But here's our Vickers Wellington bomber, a little legendary aircraft that was here. It was here with an operational squadron, which I'll get to. 149 who were operating at Mildenhall actually moved here when number 20 came over, and they were operating also the Vickers Wellington bomber, the most produced bomber of the Royal Air Force. We always think about the Lancasters, we think about the Stirlings, we think about the Blenheims, Hamdens, Wellesley, Albemarle, you know, all these various bombers, but this made in 11,460 or so of these, and made in 16 different variants. Barnes Wallis, the man again. Here's a little fact for you. Any Vickers aircraft beginning with W had a geodetic airframe, a lattice airframe made out of lightweight metal. I can't remember. Do you know? I've lost. I think it was aluminium. I can't remember. Do you know, I always tell you it's a geodetic airframe. It was constructed in a lattice, a bit like the fence here, to basically take a lot of damage. It looked complicated, so Barnes Wallis actually made gave out instruction sheets for companies when they were building and constructing them. It could take a lot of battle damage. It was excellent. So there was quite a few. So the Vickers Warwick, the Vickers Windsor, the Wellesley, all had a geodetic airframe. Now, you may hear, is it geodesic? Yes, but Barnes Wallis call it geodetic. Okay, so both are accepted. And there's a nice little example here. Made in 16 main different variants. It was quite remarkable, really. Crew of 5 or even 6, 86-foot wingspan, with a length of 64 foot 7 inches. The first Mark was powered by Bristol Pegasus engines, and the Air Ministry really wanted something to do away with the 600 horsepower like Kestrel engines. They wanted more power, and this kind of started things off, really, the Pegasus engine, which was put in the Hamden as well. So 1,000 horsepower was set in the Mark. But the Mark IIs, they did actually have Rolls-Royce Merlins in them. And Mark III, which was really the main cup of tea for it, was the Bristol Hercules, a nice 1,500 horsepower, which could take, you know, this aircraft up to 20,000 feet, and it had a healthy speeds of, could reach up to 250 miles per hour. You may see facts of 235 and around there. Yes, that's correct, because there were different variants of the Wellington. An absolutely remarkable aircraft, and a world record setter as well, which I'll tell you about that one on another show as well. So there's our Wellington, and eventually 149 and 199 were operating those for a brief period until the introduction of the first ever 4-engine heavy bomber of the Royal Air Force. Here we go. So the reason for building Lakenheath was to act as a satellite station to protect Mildenhall. Again, all about protection. In fact, Mildenhall had 3 satellite stations. They had Tuddenham, Newmarket Heath, and here. But in came the Royal Air Force's first ever 4-engine monoplane heavy bomber. I need to add that monoplane bit. But yes, and the thing is, here we are with the short Stirling bomber, powered by Bristol Hercules. I'll tell you about that on another. I'll give you a full rundown. I'm going to do you a education on a full rundown of this, because it is absolutely spectacular aircraft of how it was designed. It was basically modified from the short Sunderland, and shorts were quite popular at making boats, flying boats, and you can see if you have a look at the short Sunderland. In fact, shall I show you a picture of one? Let's show you a picture of a short Sunderland, because I don't have one in full, but you can see what the Short brothers did. They kind of cut the bottom deck out. There you go, look. Let's turn this round. You can see a little bit of the basically cutting that bottom deck. I know it's not the best, but you can see that angled rear for the sea spray, and yeah, there we go. Beautiful. I do love the Sunderland, because it can get so low. Enemy fighters had a hard time trying to strafe this thing, because obviously if they get too low, well, this can go as low as it wants and actually ride the sea. But there we go. But the short Stirling bomber was serving here. This is actually EX. Ironically, is actually the markings for 199 that were here as well. So 1943. Lakenheath actually became an independent station. All right, so it ran on its own. It was no longer a satellite station. But there we go. There's our short Stirling bomber. And the problem is, fully loaded and fully fueled, one of the things that you may hear is the fact that it had a really bad, poor service ceiling of just maybe it could even get to 17,000 feet. That was one of the problems. And it did have a 99-foot wingspan, which was one of the restrictions, not because of the hangars. You may hear that myth. We've debunked that myth. I mean, RAF hangars as a standard were about 120 feet. So the reason for the restriction was transportation purposes, so that they can transport the parts. So having a wingspan that was quite large to put on a transporting vehicle could be a problem for it. So there we go. And interestingly, number 7 Squadron, who fly Chinooks, were the first to operate this in July 1940. The first ever 4-engine heavy bomber, for those that don't know. There was a few other problems which ended up becoming the bomber that didn't bomb in the end, because it did change roles. It stopped being a bomber pretty much towards 1943, which I'll go into a bit of detail. But 99-foot wingspan with a huge length of 87 feet and 3 inches. Bristol Hercules ×4 had the 14-cylinder air-cooled Hercules 11s on there at 1,500 horsepower. They did make a Mark II, but the engines weren't. It actually made it worse. They added more powerful engines, and bizarrely, actually made it worse. But it could get to a good speed of 282 miles per hour. Now here's the positive. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one more negative about it, which was a design fault. The huge bomb bay, can I add, it also had 2 smaller bomb bays. I mean, we're talking about 14,000 pounds of payload in this thing. 14,000 pounds. With all the fuel, that's why it can only get up to about 17,000 feet fully fueled, fully loaded. The problem was the dividers in the weapons bay. There was 2 doors, but those doors were so narrow that you could only fit a maximum of one bomb maximum of 2,000 pounds. You can fit up to 14,000, but the biggest you could ever fit in those is 2,000. Thing is, the RAF were making 4,000 pounder, 6,000 pounder, 8, 12, and even of course the Grand Slam. But hey, that's a different one. The other thing I want you to know, and quite a beautiful and tragic story of putting those together, is that Lakenheath is also a VC base. Give me 1 sec, I'm just going to go and get a swig of water. 1 sec. Oh, that's better. Sorry about that. Lakenheath is also a Victoria Cross station as well. That's right, it really is. And I covered the story as well. There's a separate video of a particular mission on the 28th of November 1942. It was at the time, it was yes, sorry. So it was a Sergeant Rawdon Hume Ron Middleton who set off on the 28th of November 1942, and he took off around about 1800 in Sterling BF372. Dieter, you painted a beautiful picture for me on that one. Their mission, I won't spoil it. I'll let you watch the video. But sadly, he did not return from his mission. It was to bomb Turin, but he did something amazing. You all right, Barry?
What gave Barnes Wallace his inspiration to develop the bouncing bomb?
Oh, the bouncing bomb.
What the tall boy?
Good question. I thought you were going to say the geodetic airframe.
No.
And I only came across that the other day. Bouncing bomb. It was something to do that he'd seen something, didn't it?
Yeah, he did. Well, he couldn't possibly have seen it because it was long ago. But it's well documented. It's mentioned in the film.
Is it? Go for it. Enlighten me.
Well, they've just done the tests, and he's sitting in the back of a Ministry of Defence car with politicians.
Right.
And they asked him, whatever made you think this up? And he said, I didn't. I stole it. They said, where did you steal it from? He said, Horatio Nelson. At the Battle of the Nile, he used to ricochet his cannonballs
right.
off the top of the sea.
Oh, right, yes, I see what you mean, yes.
Range. So he angled the guns to a shallow angle, and it's like skimming a stone. It bounces.
I thought it was to do with the skimming. I would have said skimming a stone, not the Nelson connection.
He did build mock-ups that fired marbles.
I wonder if he also saw saw people throwing pebbles out at sea as well.
And what was the American version?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know they did one actually.
Yes, they used it against ships. It was called Highball.
Oh, I thought Highball was Barnes Wallace.
Yeah, it is, but the Americans got hold of it. They used it.
Highball 618 Squadron. I know that one. It was for 618. It was for the Tirpitz.
Yeah.
But they used the tall boy in the end.
There's rumours, and I don't see why it couldn't be true, that during that attack on the Tirpitz, the actual ship came 3 feet out of the water. The whole ship.
Did it? Wow.
Yeah.
Churchill really wanted that gone.
He used to call it the Beast.
Yeah, he wanted
and
that.
if you go there, there's a museum that's quite interesting. But I tell you now, it is a bugger to get to.
I bet. I mean, it was placed very strategically so you couldn't get to it. So, well, there we go.
Successful
things. Thanks for that, Barry.
And the Wellington that's in the museum.
Brooklands?
Have you been to Brooklands?
No, I need to go.
Well, they got the Wellington.
They have.
Crashed in Loch Ness.
That's it.
Training flight.
It's the only complete one, and
yeah.
I know they're...
It hasn't got the skin's long gone, but the geodection is all there.
Wow.
And what's amazing, when they lifted it out, one bloke as a joke said, well, hook a battery up to it. So they hooked a battery to the lorry, battery up to it, and all the navigation lights came on. And it had been in Loch Ness.
All that time.
70 years.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And I don't know quite what state it's got to now, but I know they were trying to get it where it won't ever be held, but cosmetically.
Be nice if they get it even just taxiing, it would look lovely.
My missus worked for him. She actually met him and worked
Wow.
for him when he worked at Vickers.
Wow, amazing.
Right.
Take care, buddy. How we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Yeah, gotta love it, gotta love it. Now, I can hear F-15E Strike Eagles. I don't know if they're coming out just yet, but... How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? Hope we're all good and well. Yes, BF 372, and how we doing? Hope we're all good, ladies, gents and teddy bears. Hope we're well. So yes, now we mentioned about the Short Sterling's efforts there, and yeah, so this whole play, I want you just imagine, I want you to go back in time, man. I want you to really go back in time and just imagine that night. Just imagine on that November night mission, the Short Sterling. But I want you to check out our full story of what happened that night, what made Lakenheath a Victoria Cross station from one man's bravery. Oh, looks like we do have the F-15. Looks like he is taxiing out here. There we go. Oh, we'll come back to the story in just a moment. Just to wrap that up a little bit really quickly for the Royal Air Force's story. Lakenheath, Royal Air Force Lakenheath, as it was called, served with the Royal Air Force with, just from what I could find, just the two squadrons, 149 and 199 squadron. They took part in many raids, you know, taking out bomb plants, weapons plants. They took raids over Cologne and other cities, and even took part from Lakenheath on the 17th of August 1943 for the raid over Peenemünde. It was really important that that got taken out. They were building rockets that were destined for various parts of Britain and the US as well. 1944, they even carried out supply drops to the resistance by 149, because of course the Short Sterling became the bomber that didn't bomb in the end, because it took a different role from SOE and towing the airspeeds, Horsa gliders, etc. 1945 to 1947, the base was closed for for over 2 years. A massive project, because Lakenheath, along with Marham and Sculthorpe, was selected as a VHB, very heavy bomber base. Hi, are you right? You okay? It was selected to become a very heavy bomber base for the B-29s. And eventually in 1948, although the B-29s actually came with the United States Air Force, and Lakenheath switched host from Royal Air Force to the United States Air Force with the 7504th Base Completion Unit. And it's seen many legendary aircraft, from B-47s, B-50s, and KC-97s. I mean, the Stratojet, I wish I'd seen one of those fly. I really do. That's one aircraft I really wish I'd seen fly, you know. And that's where we leave the Royal Air Force from there, really. And it will always retain the Royal Air Force name, because it, you know, that was the title. It's loaned out to the United States Air Force. So the legendary F-15E Strike Eagle. Here we go. And there's, oh, look at the number. Look at the number. Look at that. 134. That's Ted. Ted's been in that very aircraft. He's been supersonic in that aircraft on that very special flight in 2022. Unbelievable. Teddy getting a flight in February. Wow, 134. So it was on the 25th of February 2023, sorry, not 22, 23. Ted flew in that with the bowlers, the 492nd, amazing. Ted went supersonic and he took part in what's called Red Air, which is aerial combat between two teams, the blue team and the red team. And our Fighter Squadron, our special pilot issue patch was worn on that day. We've got about 6 of those left out of the 150 made for the public. Only the pilots and crew that are involved in any TED flight, or those that win our Ted Coningsby Display Awards, get those red patches. If you want one, there's only about 6 left, and it comes with a certificate of authenticity letting you know which one you have. You better get one before they're gone. There's literally only 6 left. Amazing to think that this very concept flew its first flight in 1972. And in 1973, the family version took to the skies as well. Originally designated as the TF-15A, but was re-designated as the F-15B. That flew in 1973. Nice colours of the bowlers there. Beautiful. And in 1975, it even broke 8 time to climb world record, January the 16th of 1975. It took just 3 minutes and 27.8 seconds to get to 98,425 feet. And why not? It coasted off to 103,000 feet just to finish that off. This, my friends, literally is a symbol of American air superiority, a marvel of engineering, and an answer to the headache that was going to become the Foxbat MiG-25. This concept was started out in the 60s. And the thing is, they didn't match the MiG-25 though. They outclassed it. And this is an aircraft that's got some very spectacular things in mind. 1st of May 1983, during a training sortie, an F-15 collided with an A4 Skyhawk. Out of control, spinning and nosediving. The pilot didn't eject, although the Wizzo was thinking, surely we're going to punch out now. But he didn't. The pilot whacked on the afterburner and regained, well, some sort of control, spinning around, but managed to gain some form of control using the afterburner. Now, on the right side, the crew, both of them could see a massive ball of cloud, okay? And what that actually was the fuel spraying out of the right wing, forming this massive cloud, and they couldn't actually see the full scale of damage to the wing until they actually landed, which was twice the usual landing speed, which actually snapped the arrestor hook. I think they were going around about 260 miles per hour, which is not a recommended speed to land, but that snapped the arrestor hook. Snapped the arrestor hook. And then when they came to a halt, they had a look and realised that they landed with just one wing. So this is an aircraft that can fly with one wing. In September of 1985, Major Wilbert Doug Pearson took off in a steep vertical climb, flying at just under the speed of sound over the Pacific Ocean at around 36,000 feet. Now, he had a target, not of the land, not in the air, or even at sea, but in space. Ladies, gents and teddy bears, the F-15 is the only, along with the pilot, the only aircraft to have an air-to-space kill. I know, he pushed the pickle button, launching his missile to intercept a Solwind P-78-1 satellite, moving at only 17,500 miles per hour, and it was only 300 miles away from Pearson's F-15. He is the only pilot to have scored an air-to-space kill. Now, this very aircraft, the F-15E Strike Eagle, got its first ever kill, aerial victory, on a beautiful day. In fact, tomorrow, back in 91. That's right, Valentine's Day of 1991. Got its first aerial victory in 1991 on Valentine's Day. Now, this was also an unusual aerial victory. The US Special Forces needed support, and they basically were stuck in these mountains in Iraq up against these Mi-24s that were about to cause havoc on them. The only air-to-air victory of the F-15E Strike Eagle came that day. The target was a Hind Mi-24 mean helicopter. It was Captain Richard Tim Bennett that led the way in his F-15E Strike Eagle. He was going low level at night under the heavy anti-aircraft fire, and him and himself, Barker, his Wizzo, they basically were lasing this particular MI Hind. Now, they could have used a Sidewinder, but it just didn't have the range to do so. So they used Lantern, the low altitude navigation terrain infrared navigation pod, which is on the, I'm just trying to do this back to front, which is on the right side, the starboard side. That's what it's for, and Bennett decided to use a GBU-10, so he told his Wizzo to get lasing on that. So he fired a bomb. He used a bomb on a helicopter. The idea was to actually destroy all the Mi-24s, but he didn't want to be too late, because once they got off the ground, then the Special Forces would be in trouble. And the thing is, there was a bit of a problem. They were running a bit late, and the Mi-24 took off. Now this, we're talking about an air-to-ground bomb, a GBU-10. It's a 2,000-pound bomb here, all right? Now, the thing is, the Bennett actually switched to his navigation goggles because it was night, and he switched to infrared vision, and then he saw this massive flash, but he thought it was too late because his Wizzo was trying to get a lock on this aircraft that had taken off. That flash was the vaporization pretty much of that Mi-24, and because it was airborne, it's the first ever and the most unusual aerial victory, and the first one for the F-15E Strike Eagle. Amazing to use an air-to-ground bomb guided on that. I mean, that's just amazing. So it can fly with one wing, it can shoot down a satellite, and it's even got 104 aerial victories in aerial combat with 0 losses. It is absolutely amazing, with its 45-degree angled swept all metal wing, cropped. It's got, you'll notice it's quite almost like a delta cropped wing. The radars started off being an APG-70, but they are, I don't know which ones have got it, but I think all of them now probably, the new APG-82 active electronic scanned array. Oh yeah, that solved the problem when you got basically a 2-ship and they split. The problem with manual radar is that once they split, that could cause havoc, and I think some enemies were really playing to that, but you know, the F-15 can take care of itself there now. So the new radar increases the aircrew and aircraft survivability, simultaneously detects, identifies and tracks multiple air-to-surface targets as well, longer range and information sharing as well. And we mentioned yesterday about BAE systems. Well, they've got a new system on here called EPAWS, Eagle Passive Active Warning Survivability System, basically ECM, electronic countermeasures, RF with 360-degree battle space. This can see you, this can track onto you, this will get you. So it is an amazing aircraft. Also, the inlets that you can see, they actually do move when we can get to see them as well. Absolutely amazing. These ones are powered by the Pratt & Whitney's F100 PW229s. There is an opportunity to actually see if they got a 229. That's right, the 229s have got a they've actually got something visibly externally. They've got basically a almost like a secondary oil cooler that sticks outside the conformal fuel tanks that hugs the F-15E Strike Eagle. You can see them when they come head on, or if you're fortunate enough to get right underneath one, you can actually see it. The Pratt & Whitney 229s produce a whopping combined 29,000 pounds of thrust each. So combined, we're talking about just under 60,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner. Oh yeah. Now on the port side, we've also got the sniper. On the port side, we've also got the sniper pod, which is a targeting pod. That's what the Barker Bennett's Wizzo was using. So if you're going to lock onto targets, you can use that pod, the sniper pod. You may have seen that in the film Maverick as well, on Top Gun. I'll guide you to the 229 identification. I'm going to do it as you're looking at it on the screen. You might see these intakes. So on that left, as in our left drop tank, if you look to the sort of 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, there's this black circle, which is actually a shadow and contour of an intake. Tiny inlet. There it is again. They're on either side, but I'm just trying to pick one. That's how you can tell they're 229s. Here we go. Rack them up. Underneath, on the left, a sniper pod that the Wizzo uses, and on the right, on the aircraft's right, the lantern. And the thing is, the F-15E Strike Eagle has the benefits of being a two-person crew. Pilot rows the boat, the Wizzo shoots the ducks, making it very effective. Look at the inlet there, the huge inlet there. There are ramps inside as well that control the airflow, with those huge stabilizers giving you that presence that it can do some whopping max speed. It is a heavy aircraft, almost the size of a tennis court. When I first started doing this, I couldn't believe that the F-15 was still flying. I remembered it as a kid. The F-15E Strike Eagle, first flight 1986, introduced 89. The C&Ds in 1979, the same year that the Red Arrows chose the Hawk. Oh yeah. Da, 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 da. It's also got a whopping cannon, an M61 Vulcan cannon, 6,000 rounds per minute. Yummy. 20 mil goodness. 20 Mike, 6,000 rounds per minute. Oh dear. And it can I'm gonna have to go and get water. Oh yeah, there you go. There's the, I don't know if you can see a real dark circle on our left or on the aircraft's right. What we got here? There we go. On the aircraft's right, can you see a dark tiny circle? So if you look at the drop tank about 1 o'clock or 2, yeah, but on its 1 o'clock there's a dark, well, what it is actually a tiny little inlet, a little intake there, because of the additional power that the Pratt & Whitney 229 has. It needs to cool it down. The F-15E Strike Eagle has conformal fuel tanks. They're like bags that are mounted on the sides of the fuselage. Pros and cons: more fuel, but of course, you know, it can be a little bit draggy, adding a bit more weight. I believe they're quite soft. I don't think they're quite solid, if I remember. Landing gear on aircraft and on the internal landing gear housing, you'll notice, nice and white. Why is that? Well, easy to detect any hydraulic leaks or any oil leaks coming from the landing gear area. If it was dark, you'd have trouble having a look at them there now. Funny feeling we had aircraft on arrival due to the short delay. May get a little video bomb in just a second. Is it going to make it? There she is. Look at that. C-130 on the over. That howl just sounded delicious. I don't know if you heard that howl.
to mess up the other. Right? But got it, then I had to like walk more that way so that the time was in the way. Walk down to that. Alright, we'll give it up on that thing there.
Big shout out to all the various roles of Lakenheath, including the 48th Operations Support Squadron, the 48th Operations Support Squadron, also the 48th Medical, the 48th Civil Engineering Squadrons as well. How we doing? The Fighter Generation Squadrons, 48th Medical, of course, LE, OSI, all the SF there doing their thing. Lakenheath Fire Department. There's so many roles. The Comptrollers as well, the 48th Comptroller Squadron. There's quite a lot. And all the ground crew, armourers, part of the Fighter Generation Squadrons as well. Hope we're all good. Welcome to the show. It's bitterly cold at the moment, so I might just go and grab a quick cup of tea. Hope you're enjoying it so far. So we're tuned in from the official aircraft viewing area, which is such a pleasure to have. But of course there are housekeeping rules as well. Please do abide by them. Again, requests are please don't touch the fence, certainly don't climb it. You can see the barbed wire there, but please don't damage it in any way. It's MOD property. And don't rest your ladders on the fence either. Please, ladies, gents and teddy bears, let's keep things all good here. There are bins provided, but we always recommend to bring a bag just to put your litter in and take it home with you, take your litter home. Only because when you start to get windy days here, which we get quite a lot, the rubbish just comes flying out the bins, especially if it's just like a tissue or something like that. So we always recommend to bring bring your own bags. You can pick them up for quite cheap. Maybe a 99p or up to £2, £3 for a reel of 25 of them. And certainly if you do come across one, certainly don't park your vehicle. There's also a access entrance and exit gate here. Please don't worry, they're not actually blocking it, but it looks like it from here, but they're not. They would have been told to move. Please don't block that gate there. It needs to go. That road there with that blue car, no, that blue car hasn't gone through there. There is a private road down there as well, so you can't go that way as well. All right, so there's a private road there. So yeah, just be mindful of what you're doing. And of course, be mindful this day and age as well of your surroundings. If there's anything suspicious, do contact. Beautiful. Just going to grab a quick cup of tea.
F-15s, we might do, we might not. There's them.
Yeah, I'll have to cut with it.
Right, be right back. Just going to grab a quick cup of tea. Won't be long. How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? Just needed a little warm up, some nice warm tea. So we'll just catch up on a bit of Lakenheath 48's history in just a moment. On the show, so it'll be a lot easier for me to do the guards marches today. Not like yesterday. Leader Ted Coningsby. Ted, how you doing, mate? Oh yes. Hope we're all good, Teddy. So Paul Briggs, high five and a guards march. Thank you for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you. Air Godzilla as well, member for 28 months. Who's put oi oi. Alex Raven, thanks a lot for the super guards march for Nicholas. Congrats on 125k. Well, there's always wishful thinking. I wish we were on 125. We're on 123, but we will aim for 125. So guards march for the future. Ian Wright, thanks a lot for your 35-month loyal service with the Ted Coningsby channel as a member. In fact, a Posh Officer member as well. Posh Officers Club. Big shout out to the Point Charlie crew. And see you at Lakenheath very soon. Guards march, thank you very much. Debbie Solkin, member for 9 months. Thank you as well for your 9-month service. Oi, oi, everyone. Well, 9 months of excellent streaming. Thank you, everyone, for such a lovely channel. Thank you, Nikos. Guards march. At the Bat of Purple, thanks for the super. So Reggie can buy some chocolate. Guards march. Rob Kennard, thank you very much. High five for that. Thank you so much for that one. Thank you for the super. And here's a guards march. Watching from Devon. Thank you for bringing us such great content every time. Best and only military channel on YouTube. Thank you so much. Steve Sedman, look at this. I think Steve has probably got the most service here at the moment with 40. That's 40 months. The big 40. Guards march to you, man. Thank you so much. Right from the start. One of the originals as well. Joshua Brown with 17 months membership. Good morning, everyone. And also 17 months member. Guards march. Alan Burden with 32 months. We've put wowzers, 32 months. Guards march. Margot, thanks a lot for the super. Guards march. Also got Andy Shawyer. Guards march to you. High five. Thanks for upgrading to becoming a Posh Officer. Thanks a lot. Who's just joined today as well. He joined today, so we'll give you a guards march for joining as a Ted Coningsby Squadron member and then upgraded immediately. Love that. Chris JR26 as well. Welcome to the Ted Coningsby Squadron. High five, guards march. Wendy loves planes. Guards march as well to you and a high five there. Jamie Pierce, thanks a lot. High five. Thanks for joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Lots of new recruits today. Look at this. Also got Faris Madrazi. High five, guards march. Thank you for joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Absolutely beautiful. Heather Postlethwaite, thanks a lot for the super. A guards march from our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby there. Nice. So I believe that was that 6 that went out? Anyone's been counting on the F-15s there now. So welcome to the show, ladies, gents and teddy bears. Let's have a little scan on here. Oh, what a day! Just having a look. So this is the catwalk, as we call it. That is an official Ted Coningsby vocab. Oh, we're setting the standards for vocab. You know it is. But actually, officially, it's just called a taxiway. But we love the catwalk, don't we? So there we go. That was the so we spoke about the transition to Royal Air Force Station Lakenheath right up to 1948 with the 2nd and the 307th as well, who were here with their B-29s. Lovely. That's the bomb groups, the 2nd bomb group and the 307th. And that was literally the start off of Strategic Air Command. Now let me have a little look. I've got some lovely goodies for you to have a look at. Now you know me, it's got a little bit, well luckily the badges didn't get damaged. I have with me official wings of the United States Air Force. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Beautiful. You can tell the older ones are down the bottom there now. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. So those are the wings. These are Gen. I am an avid collector of military items. And that bottom one there, that's your military aviator, a pilot basically. The next one up, we're going to work our way up. That one's a navigator or an aircraft observer. Also got a flight nurse, this one here, quite a distinctive marking. And this is the CSOs. This changed not long ago, okay? And it was originally for a navigator or an aircraft observer. Now so basically a WISO, an operator, there's a whole lot of trade that you can be valid to wear this, and I'll explain in just a moment. And this top one, that's probably the highest level, is a command pilot, but just enjoy those. Absolutely incredible, aren't they? With those. So these are United States Air Force wings. They're absolutely beautiful. So that one there, CSO, that's Combat Systems Officer. All right, that changed. I can't remember when that changed. I did come across it. Basically a commissioned officer, an aircrew member, and they would specialize in things like navigation, electronic warfare, weapons systems management. So various, so basically a WISO is now in that class. It's not a role itself, but it's in a class of a set of roles. So that's one beautiful thing to show you. Actually, while I'm saying that, we do have aircraft that's about to taxi down the catwalk. Now the 48th Bombardment Group Light, as they were known, they activated on the 15th of January 1941. They activated at Hunterfield, Georgia. That's when they began. 54 of these activations in preparation for something of a troublesome time right across the planet. And a good idea to get these activations. They were known as the aviation objective, first aviation objectives, and it was in preparation. You see, why wait and be unprepared and untrained? Trained is better than untrained. Prepared is better than unprepared. Skills is better than non-skills. Learning is practice. Practice is training. Training is always training equals the best, and being the best equals air superiority. As simple as that. RAF Lakenheath is operated by the United States Air Force. It is owned by the Royal Air Force and has been so since it was built and completed in 1941. And it switched to the United States Air Force in 1948. Still owned by the Royal Air Force, even today, hence the name Royal Air Force Lakenheath. There are regulators. There is a Royal Air Force Station Commander here that is along with the Suffolk MOD Police. How you all doing? Big shout out to them, the MOD Police of Suffolk. Oi oi. And yes, so there'll be a station commander for both the Royal Air Force and of course the United States Air Force in Europe. Remco DeVray, Johnny B, Richie B, Captain A, Alex Black Cat, Davey, how you doing? Aspen, what up? Now, during the Second World War, they were a fighter group, the 48th, with just the 3 squadrons in the end. The 495th were given a different path. Was sent to a different fighter bomb group, which inactivated on the 1st of April 1944. But their main fighter was indeed my favourite, the P-47 Thunderbolt. This is what they dominated the skies. We talk about air superiority with the F-15E Strike Eagle, and we talk about the legacy here with the 48th, but this mighty P-47 with their 3 squadrons, this is what they used with the 9th Air Force. Stationed first with the 70th Fighter Wing, the 9th Tactical Command at RAF Ibsley near Bournemouth, and then worked their way through D-Day. 2,000 sorties in that Normandy campaign. 2,000. That's just for the 48th. And then they worked their way to France. Beautiful airfields such as Coningsby, and eventually to Belgium at St. Trond, using their 10,000 foot monster of a runway, which the pilots love. And that very aircraft, my friends, was what innovated close air support. That very aircraft, hence the name Thunderbolt. We all know close air support today with the A-10, hence it's called a Thunderbolt 2, A-10 Thunderbolt 2. So they named it and in tribute. So the A-10 was built around its gun, the Thunderbolt, built around its huge Pratt & Whitney R2800 18-cylinder engine. That was a quick fix, wasn't it? Look at this. grab the cam. I'm wondering if this was the 6 that was meant to go out. There was a singleton. Rack 'em up! Goes. Dita, how you doing? Battle Purple, Johnny B, Aspen, flying out. How are we all doing? Hope we're all well and good. Thank you very much for joining us today. So yes, the 48's legacy dates back to the 15th of Jan 1941 amongst many activations, 54 in total. It was put in place for things that were not looking right around the world because the United States entered the war later, so they didn't have the biggest air force. And the tragedy of the 7th of December 1941, the attacks on Pearl Harbor, they even lost a lot of aircraft as well that day. But on the 15th of January 1941, one of the first aviation objectives was indeed the 48th Bombardment Group Light, activated at Hunterfield, Georgia, with the 55th, 56th and 57th Bomb Squadrons Light, and along with the 4th Squadron, 9th Reconnaissance Squadron. They were flying aircraft such as the A-24, A-31, and eventually worked up to the P-39 and the P-40. A year later, they were then redesignated as the 48th Bombardment Group Dive. Again, it depends what aircraft. You see, there were various aircraft that had basically different specifications and different roles that they played. But they were a training unit at that time. They weren't fully operational, they were still training. This is quite new. Like I said, a lot of the activations were all training because they weren't quite entered the war just yet. They were neutral. So the squadrons had a little tweak then. So the 55th, 56th and 57th became the Bomb Squadrons Dive. The 9th Reconnaissance Squadron ended up with a new aircraft, the B-18 Bolo, and changed number to 88. Bomb Squadron Dive. And then a year later, in 1944, they became renumbered. So the 55th became the 492nd, 56th became the 493rd, 57th became the 494th, and the 88th, who were the 9th, became the 495th, numbers that we know today. All right. Now, during the time of March 1944, of course, by 1944, I mean, we're talking 3 years, there was a lot going on then. The mighty 8th Air Force already were in Britain and around the world, designated to certain places, and they were just reforming. So by 1944, they had a restructure. You see, you've got an Air Force, let's take the 8th, then they were split into 3 divisions. This is just for example. And then when you got divisions, you then have wings, and then from wings, you then have your groups, and then from groups, then you got your squadrons in those groups, and then in those squadrons, you then got each individual flight. There we go. So on March 1944, the 495th actually moved to the 407th Fighter Group, but that group became inactive on the 1st of April 1944. By this time, they'd had all switched to the P-47 Thunderbolts. Now, A couple of things I'm going to show you is the structure. My theory why they moved them, it could be one of many, but having a look at history, fighter groups had 3 squadrons. All right, fighter groups had 3 squadrons. So because the 48th had 4, I think that could be why, but also the leeway that they were indeed a training unit anyway at that time. They weren't really, I mean, I'm going to show you kind of like some of the organisation that they were doing. There's a little few of my personal notes that I've got here. So if you look at the B-17s and B-24s, you'll notice the shapes. Those shapes actually told you what division they were in, 1st, 2nd or the 3rd Air Division. And the thing is, each division then had their own fighter wing attached to it for escorting and defensive and escorting the bombers. So for example, let's take the Square D, the 100th Bomb Group, which are at Mildenhall. Hey, they were part of the 3rd Air Division because it's a square. All right, now they were looked after, so they were the 3rd Air Division. The 3rd Air Division, so at Thorpe Abbots, they were looked after by the 66th Fighter Wing. These are the groups that go with it. Just to put that into mighty perspective, that's what the 1st Air Division looked like with their bombers. You know what I mean? Look at that. And then I've got for the 2nd, and got quite a lot. So there's a beautiful example of what it can look like. This is the 2nd Air Division, usually B-24s, giving you the group. But fighter groups, they had 3 squadrons, and as I mentioned, the P-47 Thunderbolt was used by our lovely 48th. So there were just the 3 squadrons. Those are their markings, and those are the colours. A little bit different to what we have today. Yellow was actually the 494th, blue was actually the 493rd, and red for the 492nd. The P-47 Thunderbolt, the size of that intake, you can fit a human in there. I've seen photos of ground crew, please don't try that at home. But look at the design, look at the Pratt & Whitney beautiful R2800, 2,000 horsepower, 18-cylinder air-cooled. Now it was air-cooled. There are benefits and the pros and cons. Not very aerodynamic when you got the radial pistons, yeah? It's quite flat, but very powerful. And the way the radial pistons worked, you could actually lose a lot of your cylinders and you can still fly. The air-cooled was brilliant because you can get shot up around here. Problem is with inline liquid-cooled, if you get shot in your engine bay area, your cowling area, if you hit one of those pipes that cooled your engine, you were in serious trouble. It was game over. The air goes in, gets sucked in, meets the supercharger, the impeller, compresses the air. Now that compression works its way, so there's the blue there, the cold air going in, and then that gets fed through the intercooler, and it basically cools down that heat and works its way to the exhaust collection ring for those beautiful. It's about 46 litres. Oh, here comes an aircraft. Here comes which I believe will be an F-15 then. Now we've all seen the film Fast and Furious with NOS. Yeah, the P-47 had a kind of NOS. Well, not quite. It was liquid water and alcohol mixture. Look at that, the unpainted primer on the inside look. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, nitrous oxide isn't actually the fuel for the aircraft. It helps burn the fuel quicker, right? So the P-47s had a 200 horsepower boost using using water and alcohol. Another one? Oh, I think another one. Is there another one? Oh, maybe not. Yeah, so it was used in boosts. There it is. So it was a water and alcohol mixture, and it was used. There's about 30 gallons of it in that water tank, and it injected a mixture of, I think it was like methanol, basically water and alcohol. And again, you'd probably think adding water to engines would actually make it worse, but it's actually the cooling down that would actually increase those pistons to actually function better and actually give more power. In fact, 300 horsepower more, which is quite amazing. They'd use it in bursts as well to assist on basically rough weather or in aerial combat. Speaking of aerial combat as well, if you are engaged in aerial combat, it was really important that you literally, sorry for the pun, hence the name, drop the drop tanks. If you were to get shot at here, it's basically pressurized gas in there. You will basically, it's like having a bomb exploding underneath. So make sure if you are involved in aerial combat that you remove your drop tanks. Plus it made you more maneuverable as well. The 425 miles per hour beast, I mean it was amazing. I mean, look at this beautiful aircraft, isn't it? The P-47. This one's the Razorback. It can certainly climb high as well, way over 40,000 feet. And you also have the bubble canopy, the Razor. This is called the Razorback version, and it is absolutely monstrous, isn't it? And at a wingspan, I mean, it was a class of its own, a length of 36 feet. That is amazing, isn't it? A length of that, which would actually engross a Spitfire. I haven't got my Spitfire here with me, you know, as you do. Have a Spitfire with you, do you know what I mean? So the length of a Spitfire, let's say a Mark V, was 29 feet. 29 feet as opposed to 36 feet. For those who do meters, 11.02 on the P-47. The Spitfire, 9 meters. So an extra 2 and a bit more meters. That is, I mean, that's just incredible. Really is a beautiful aircraft from the Republic. P-47 Thunderbolt, 426 miles per hour max speed, about 42,000 feet ceiling, and it's just phenomenal, an absolute beaut. And the thing is, it would actually lose miles per hour, about 25 miles per hour, when all 8 guns were fired. And this is what the 48th were using throughout the Second World War. They arrived at Ibbsley, like I said, and they started to really make the name for themselves. Just looking behind me to see if we got any anything else there now. So yeah, the legendary P-47 Thunderbolt with the 48th. And the thing is, just to tell you, when the men set sail on the 21st of March of 1944 with the 3 squadrons. They set sail on the Ile-de-France and the Queen Mary. They arrived at RAF Ibbsley, allocated to the 9th Tactical Command of the 9th Air Force, and they trained there with the 70th Fighter Wing through low-level attack, supporting the Army, rigorous training program designed to train them for their future important role. Dive bombing, close air support, you know, really pushing the split S to strafe low-level attacks on railway lines, light vehicles, tanks, anything that moved on the ground. It was eaten by this. Similar role to the Hawker Typhoon as well, for those interested. Visual reconnaissance as well as close air support to the Army. 2,000 sorties out of the 14,000 of the Normandy campaign. They moved to Dujamou on the 18th of June 1944. In July 44, the 48th. Oh, by the way, although they were the fighter bomber squadron group, they did change that on the 30th of May 1944 to become a sole fighter group, okay? Just to let you know that. July 44, they carried out loads of airstrikes, helped the First Army break through the German positions at Saint-Lô in France. They destroyed tanks, gun pods, and in August of 1944, they moved to Coningsby, then moved to Belgium for that 10,000 foot lovingly beautiful runway. On the 17th of September, they supported in Operation Market Garden. Now, as we got into December, cold, snowy, really bad weather like we've got today, on the 6th of December 1944, troops of the 9th Army were pinned down in Jülich in Germany. Now, you know, it just goes to show how much the Allies progressed. We're talking about early December and they're already in Jülich. But they were stuck by a soccer field in freezing, foggy, icy conditions. Now, the 48th were sent on a mission, especially the 493rd, the Grim Reapers, flying at tree-top level height, the 48th, along with the legend Ed Cottrell, who carried out 65 missions. They were flying at 200 feet at 325 miles per hour, led by Major Stanley Latiolis with delayed bombs and strafed the ground, and Ed got back to base and he was shown his 40 bullets that were fired. This could take a beating. You can have holes all over the place on this thing. And on the 17th of December of 1944, the 493rd were given a mission to attack a bridge, and tanks were spotted. And Ed was telling a story as he came to destroy a tank. A 109 came at him as he pulled up. The worst time to attack a P-47, or a good time to attack a P-47 if you're, you know, attacking it. The problem is Ed, with no speed, was completely shot to bits on his P-47, and it was literally about to crash, but he kept going. Oil spluttered into the canopy, and Ed opened the canopy and wiped his goggles and was trying to prepare for the worst. He couldn't bail, he was too low by then, and the 109s were crisscrossing behind him, and sadly, to his horror, they came right up to him but didn't fire. The blessings were upon him from above, because they went side to side, these 109s saluted Ed and they turned away, because this was smoking to pieces. Probably the pilots were shocked that it was still flying. It got back to base. He was shown that he was missing 9 cylinders. 9 cylinders, man! That's like, that is just insane. And Ed actually contacted Pratt & Whitney. He got out of his very wounded P-47. He got out and he kissed the floor, and he contacted Pratt & Whitney and told them what a life-saving engine that they had made. So that's a true story. Ed, who sadly passed away at 103 last year. So rest in peace, sir, and thank you for serving the legend that is. I can't remember what. Do apologise. I can't remember how far he got. You know, what position, what rank. That I don't know, I'm afraid. On that. But towards the end of the war, 1945. The 48th Fighter Group continued to support the army. You see, they didn't really. I think Ed said out of his 65 missions, only one was an escorting mission. Until literally the end of the war, that was it. And they moved slowly. They backtracked and they moved back to Laon, France, and moved back to the US. And sadly, the 48th were deactivated on the 7th of November 1945. They finished with 3 aerial victories to the 492nd, 8.5 to the 493rd, and 8 to the 494. However, 7 years later, they did reactivate, I know, on the 25th of June 1952. And not only did they reactivate, but they actually became a wing. That's when they became a wing in 1952. They were actually called the 48th Fighter Bomb Wing, and they ended up back in France. And it was on the 10th of July 1952 they moved back to France. They actually moved to Chaumont. Now, I always think of these movies, especially like there's a scene from Indiana Jones. We're talking about those, like, literally those shacks with a little thin barrier with 2 guards standing outside, and then just muddy acres of land and a basic runway with just a handful of shack buildings. Actually quite amazing. But it was there that in 1952 that they actually received their very first jet aircraft. So welcoming back to the world of military and activating, they received their very first jet aircraft, which was indeed the F-84. Look at that, the F-84 Thunderjet. Pretty cool, isn't it? Looking at it, was just looking behind me if there's another aircraft. It was subsonic, it wasn't supersonic. It didn't have any afterburners. Very similar to the P-80, which gave birth to the F designation. Became the F-80. And that really started the trend, really. It's very similar looking to that. But this is the the F-84. Beautiful, beautiful aircraft there, the Thunderjet. And it was with this that they started a year later, in 1953, the official United States Army Air Force, the USAF aerobatics team. They formed the Sky Blazers, and they were flying with the 492nd. Now, when they activated, it was still just the 3 squadrons, the 492nd, 493rd, and the 494 Fighter Bomb Squadrons, they were called then. All right, just to give you an idea that the 495th still weren't reactivated yet. Now, the Thunderjet, wingspan of 36 feet and 5 inches with a length of 38 feet. So, I think the length is pretty similar to the to the P-47 there, isn't it, really? That's quite cool, isn't it? It was powered by a Allison J-35 A29 turbojet. It produced 5,600 pounds of thrust. Pretty similar, really, to a to the Hawk, actually, the Hawk T1. 622 miles per hour, very similar. Could cruise at 483 miles per hour as well, and could get to a service ceiling of just over 40,000 feet. So the very first jet aircraft, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Oh yes, look at it. It's quite cool, isn't it? So they basically dolled that up. Oi, oi! Oi, oi! So they dolled that up and made the official aerobatics team, the Sky Blazers. Have a look at it. It was actually the Thunderbirds that actually put them out because the oi, oi! because they had air-to-air refuelling capabilities, and they basically ended up all over the world. They had the capability of performing at air shows around the world, which is, of course, the Sky Blazers couldn't do that with their aircraft. But anyway, May 1954, they transitioned to the F-86 Sabre, and the Sky Blazers were the official United States demo team, the USAF demo team. And here's a really cool thing. 4th of July, we all know that date, especially if you are American. Independence Day. And this was a very, very important day for the 48th. Why? Not only did they carry out displays, but guess what? Chaumont is actually situated not far away from the very place that the Statue of Liberty was designed, all right, and built. And that was by Bartholdi. The workshop was about 25 miles away from Chaumont. Guess what? You get a mayor, get a few VIPs. It was only fitting, especially on Independence Day. Got the Sky Blazers flying around. It was time to give them a name. It was only fitting, and to give that real sort of that gel between French and American relationship then. And the thing is, that was the day they were named Statue de la Liberté. All right, Statue of Liberty, which still in French is written on the 48th Fighter Wings insignia on their badge. Have a look at it. It's in French. Statue de la Liberté. Beautiful. And it was because of that. They are the only, today, they are still the only wing, not only with a number, everyone's got a number, they've got a name as well. The only one. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, it really is. In 1956, they became the first wing of USAF to operate the F-100 Super Sabre. Take care, man. And guess what? This was the first ever afterburner. Their first supersonic aircraft, the F-100. Here it is. Ladies, gents, and teddy bears, I'll give you the F-100 Super Sabre. There it is, there now. So, they operated this. They were the first USAF wing to operate it, and it was their first ever... is that aircraft I can hear? It was their first ever supersonic aircraft, I know. So the F-84, their first jet, and then this was the first ever supersonic aircraft. I mean, how cool was that? I mean, it was mean. It could have, it was pretty cool, very cool. Absolutely brilliant. It was powered by a huge Pratt & Whitney J57 P21 or 21A afterburning turbojet engine with afterburner producing 16,000 pound of thrust. I mean, dry it was 10,200, or with thrust 16,000. Wingspan 38 feet 9 inches with a height of 16 feet as well, and a length of 50 feet. I mean, you could arm this thing. I mean, let's not go ahead of ourselves. 924 miles per hour. That's Mach 1.4. Had a service ceiling of 50,000 feet, suitable for the Strategic Air Command. Guns, 4 of those, 20 mil. They were the M39A revolvers. Had about 200 rounds. Hardpoint 6, although it looks like I've been busy with this one. I've been doing stuff with that. Could take a lot of bombs, AGMs, missiles as well, 4 AIM-9s, bombs Mark 28, Mark 38, or even the Mark 43. Yeah, so there we go. So that was their first ever supersonic jet. Absolutely incredible. Oh. So that's that. So yeah, but things changed. So they ended up having that in 56, and then things started to change. Things were looming, things were changing, and between 57 and 58, they had a name change. They were then called the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing. When a wing or any unit changes a title, it means they are reorganizing, a reorg. They're becoming a tactical, which would suit the aircraft that they would operate as well. But on the 15th of January 1960, the same year that the Beatles were formed, the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing moved to Lakenheath. When the wing gets a title, whether they drop a title, change title, or allocate one, so do the squadrons. So the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing, the squadrons were the 492nd Tactical Fighter Squadron, the 493rd, and the 494th Tactical Fighter Squadrons. They moved here with the F-100D Super Sabre. All right, now they arrived with camo livery. It was camo that they were using then. It was only until the late 60s that they changed to the bare metal. All right, with that one, they introduced the traditional scheme. So red for the Panthers, yellow for the, actually it should be yellow and black, to be honest, if you want to be more precise, for the Grim Reapers, and blue for the 492nd, the Mad Hatters. You can see a beautiful camo livery with a red tail flash with LT at the Newark Air Museum. Have a look at it, they got one there. So that'll be a Lakenheath F100. They had LR, LS and LT. L for Lakenheath and a second letter to denominate the squadrons. LR, LS, LT. LR 492nd, LS for the 493rd and LT for the 494th. 1972, Phantoms arrived. They switched. They had ex-Vietnam Phantoms, F4s. They changed that squadron letter system to LK. Lakenheath's tail code was actually LK, but just for a year, because in 1973 they changed it to LN. And Henk Verhult, Phantom Fanatic, if you are on our Discord server, which you are, he will show you a beautiful photo of an LK Phantom. Very rare if you manage to snap up an actual photo of that. Things changed for Lakenheath in 1977. Not only did they switch aircraft, they finally got the F-111 Aardvark. Also, we welcome back, after what, 33 years, the 495th. They came back, and finally Lakenheath's 48th were reunited with their 4th squadron after 33 years. So 4 squadrons. Their colour, their tail flash is actually green, and they took part in many raids, such as the Gulf War, and of course one a lot earlier in 1986, 14th of April, the Libyan raids. It involved 24 of Lakenheath's F-111 Aardvarks of the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing. There's an aircraft behind me. It was called Operation El Dorado Canyon, and due to flight restrictions they had to make a massive 14-hour round trip, and they used EF-111s, the Spark Barks from Upper Hayford. The US Navy used their A7, A6s and F-14 Tomcats. However, combat does sadly come with the possibility of losses. Karma 5-2, both his crew sadly was lost. Lest we forget. 1,000 likes, thank you very much Davey for that, man. Oh yeah. two back of the 6, I believe, isn't it? Or did we get one on its own? I've really lost my trait there of what we've got out there still. So yeah, sadly Karma 5-2 was lost, and for the efforts on the success of the raid in September of 1986, so 5 months after the raid, they were awarded the US Navy actually awarded by Secretary John Lehman of the was actually awarded the US Navy award. It was the Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation. It was awarded to the 48th by the US Navy Secretary John Lehman, and they're the only United States Air Force unit to actually receive this. I mean, think about it, because of the nature of you know, from coming from a US Navy to award a US Air Force, it's extremely rare. And 1991, the 495th, once again they became inactive, and the F-111 was starting to be retired, and the 48th, after the re-evaluation of their role for air superiority, they dropped the tactical title, and things changed, and a new aircraft arrived for them, the F-15E Strike Eagle, which we've just seen land. It was the first ever air-to-air fighter that they've ever received in that role. I'm just thinking, yeah, the P-47 wasn't really it was more of a ground attack bomber, wasn't it? Strafing, yeah. Okay, so it was the first of its type for them, the F-15E Strike Eagle, and they received them in 1992. Now, the 493rd actually sort of partly became inactive because they didn't receive their F-15Cs until 94. So from 92, we just had the 2 squadrons, 2 Eagle squadrons. And there is a photo, I came across it. Davey, get on the case, buddy. I know you'll find it for me. I have actually come across an F-15, he's going to do it now. I've actually come across an F-15E Strike Eagle with the 2 colours on it, red and blue. Davey, try and find that for me, buddy. Do you know what? I was either imagining that or I came across that. So the first, you know, so they had just 2 squadrons for 2 years. Oh, hello, we may be getting a little maybe a weather check or initial into downwind. Weather check. They can, not saying it is, but they can do a weather check to get a more accurate status of that cloud. So yeah, there were just 2 squadrons, 1992, 492nd and 494th, Panthers and Mad Hatters. And 1994 then the arrival of the F-15Cs, and then later on they started to receive the F-15D, and that was just for the 493rd, the Grim Reapers. Their tail flash was yellow with the outline of black, so black and gold basically were their colour schemes. So the 493rd, the Grim Reapers, also MiG killers as well. This is you can see there, look, the black and gold, look, black and yellow. That's exactly what it looked like. There it is. This is an F-15C. Here it is, and you'll notice the 2 markings there, the kill markings there, which was quite spectacular there. And that was from Allied Force, 24th of March 1999, strike against Serbian targets, and in just 72 hours the 493rd Expeditionary Fighter Squadron, the Grim Reapers, they managed to get 4 aerial victories. Knife 1-3 with 1 kill, Edge 6-1, these are call signs, and Dirk 2-1 with serial number 860156, which is this one. 156 with 2 MiG-29 kills to that pilot. How amazing is that? Absolutely amazing. If you want to know the age or when the aircraft was put into production, you can see the two small numbers, 86. 1986 was when this aircraft was put into production. So if you see 91, it was put in 91. And then the rest of it is the rest of the serial number. Pretty amazing. You can hear an aircraft there now. Also, Lakenheath also in 2006 had helicopters. That's right, they had a helicopters here with the 56 Rescue Squadron in 2006. Also joining them in 2015 was the 57. So 2006, the 56 Rescue Squadron with the HH-60 Pavehawks. How cool is that to have a rescue squadron here with HH-60 Pavehawks? And in 2015 we had the 57th Rescue Squadron, again operating the HH-60 Pavehawks as well. They actually moved to Aviano in the end, which is where they are today. I think they're there today. They moved in 2018, so not that long ago we actually had helicopters here. I mean, how cool is that? Oh wow, Davey, do you know what? I don't even think I've seen that. Didn't even notice that there was all 4 colours on one of them. Wow, thanks for that, David. David's just found. Yeah, I came across one with just with just the 2 colours. Oh, there you go. I think he's found it. Davey, have you got it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so there was an F-15E Strike Eagle with just 2 colours. Oh, you legend. Thanks, man. What serial was that then? Let's have a look. Oh, I can't see the serial on that. Oh, cool. Thanks, Davey. I thought I was going Mayhead. Look at that. Cool. Do you know, I keep thinking it's Friday today. It's actually Thursday. Feels weird, doesn't it? So I'll see what I can do tomorrow. For those in the UK, we are about to get destroyed tomorrow with a real serious weather front coming tomorrow, from sleet, snow, rain, everything. So take care out there. And just to finish off the history then, on the 15th of December, you'll notice the number 15 comes up here quite a lot. It's 15th of January, 15th of December, 15th of January 1960, 15th of January 1941. It happens quite a lot. 15th of December 2021, the arrival and welcoming back the 495th. They came back and brought with them a very new aircraft, the F-35A. And I'll show you that in just a tick. I just realised I need to just change the mags over. And here it is, our F-35A. Beautiful 5th generation stealth multi-role fighter. There it is. Beautiful. There's the 4 hard points you can see inside there. You can add there's 3 additional hard points here and here. So amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing, isn't it? 4 internal, 6 external. Absolutely rocket engine, literally 43,000 pounds of thrust coming out of that Pratt & Whitney F100, F135, sorry, F135 PW, F135 PW100. Have I got that right? I'm just getting a bit sidetracked. Okay, so the F-35A is the only one you can tell here with the GAU 22 cannon, which fires a mixture of 25mm rounds, and that's how you can tell. It's got this massive contour internal. So the B and the C, they don't have one. Okay, just to let you know. All right, the A variant is the only one with a boomstick to air refuel it as well. All right, pretty spectacular stuff on what it can do. I can hear F-15E Strike Eagles, but I'm not sure if that's the ones that came back. Well, it's certainly taxiing down this way.
Looks like you'll have something to show soon.
Oh, where did that go? Thanks, Davey, for the pics. Hope we're all good, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Oh, what's this? How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? Hope we're all good and well. Right, just trying to work out if that's everything back. I lost track there. What time we got? 14:29. Daniel Roberts, how you doing? EP65, Scott Evans, Captain A, how are you all doing? I hope we're all good. Michael Woodringe, members, how are we all doing? Midas Dwight, Jay Bolton, Margot, Johnny B, Colin Patterson, how are we all doing? Hope we're all well. Yeah, I keep thinking it's Friday because of the we're usually here end of the week. Yeah, we're not here tomorrow due to the weather. The weather looks shocking, man. I'm just going to double check. I'll see what I can do tomorrow. It doesn't look great tomorrow at all, but I'm a fan. How you doing as well? Got Glenn Boy. Well, if you'd like to join our community, come and join us. You can become a member and join our members only Discord server, where you can join our community when we're not streaming. Chat away, post your photos, post your videos, have a good time. And it does support the channel, so you'll be supporting the channel and have access to an array of perks, from members only videos, members only live streams, discount on our merchandise, access to the Discord server as well, as I mentioned as well. There's so many things, priority tickets to our events. Come and join us. It's just $1.99 a month, and that funding really helps the not only just myself to get around the country, but even the van itself, keeping it legal, safe, roadworthy, that kind of thing, putting gas in the van, you know, that kind of thing. It all, you know, and equipment as well is not cheap. So a big thank you to all our members. That is a true tribute. You know, this is 2006, channel's still going, and that's all thanks to you. So members, thank you so much. Give yourselves a massive Guards March there. I'll get Ted on there. Yeah, the weather looks shocking tomorrow, but hey, I'll see what I can do. I don't think I'm doing that. Well, we're not here tomorrow, and that's for sure. Let me just double check what's the weather saying tomorrow. It looks pretty grim, doesn't it? I don't think it's improving anywhere, so sadly this could be the last show of the week. This looks grim everywhere, doesn't it? Scott Evans, you're most welcome. Davey, thanks for all the info and the photos as well. And it was 900248, the first F-15E to be delivered to the 48 Fighter Wing. Thanks for that, man. Oh, I hope you enjoyed this week. It's been fun, hasn't it? It really has, especially what was it, Wednesday? That was hilarious. That was Tuesday. It was we got to see the inside of the Ted Mobile there. Wibbs, how you doing? Rob Kennard. Goodness me, is that the sun trying to come out as well? Sounds loud, doesn't it, from the Pratt & Whitney F100? So this potentially also could be the last movements of the day as well. Here comes our F-15, look at that. Taxiing with meaning, with purpose. What's it going to do? Hit our left? Let's have a look. There's the crew. Big shout out to all the crew chiefs and the fighter generation squadron making up their armourers, weapons tech, engine technicians as well, their mechanics. There's another. Nothing's guaranteed in the military world. As far as spotting is concerned. Gaz Russell, how you doing? Hope you're well, man. How's Fife? I wonder if that's head onto the bubble. Let's have a look. Onto the pits. I'm not sure. Keep your ears open, see if the engine's shut down. If they do, that will be it. Gaz Russell and Sunny D, they're acclaimed to have the world's loudest oi oi ever, which was quite spectacular. we'll soon find out if they are going to taxi down the catwalk. It's not 100% sure that they're hot pitting at the moment. Hot pitting, if you're new to that, that's refueling the aircraft with the engines still running. The reason why they do that, it actually refuels the aircraft quicker than if you were to turn the engines off. This forms part of integrated combat turn, ICT. Really important, crucial part, especially in the battlefield, where you'll go out on a mission, you come back, you refuel, you rearm, you checked, gone, back on another bombing run, mission, etc. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's a really important part is hot pitting. Can be refueled from a refueling vehicle, an RV, or from pumps using a hose from the ground as well. So you can choose to have one of your engines shut down, but usually it's both just still running. So, and it takes about 10 minutes to hot pit refuel an F-15E Strike Eagle. The sun's just trying to work its way. I'm just establishing what the outcome is if they are hot pit refueling. But yeah, unfortunately, I think this is our last show of the week. If there's anywhere dry tomorrow, I may give you a Teducation, an official Teducation live stream tomorrow. But I'll have a look. Let's see what it's doing. Wow, already on 123.1k. Thank you very much, our members and viewers. Thank you so much. How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? Hope we're all good. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? My name's Drew. How you doing? Ground Crew Drew, to be exact. That's why I got Hero written on me bird's nest. Just been working with the 48th here with their fighter generation squadrons. Just working hard on integrated combat turn. That's right. Just been helping out with ICT. It's really important that we do that. That's right. Keeping us on our plates of meat. I know. Make sure our minced pies are working on. Goodness me, it's a bit Stevie Bold, isn't it? Freezing me fur off out here. Goodness me. But yeah, it's really intense. You got to use your loaf of bread, you know. It's definitely one keeping on your plates of meat. That's right. Well, don't forget to give us a like. That's right, hit the like button, whether you're watching it on the wobbly jelly or your dog and bone, or even modern days your lamb chop. I ain't got one for an iPad. Sounds like something of a disability of a pirate. No offence, but do you know what I mean? Never mind, never mind. How we all doing? Hope we're all good. Yeah. Hope we're all good there. Hey, what you right now? Hey, how you doing, me old China? How you doing?
Me old China, what do you mean? Oh, I'm not a plate.
I know, but you're my mate.
What did you just say, mate, there now? My name's Reggie, part of the RAF regiment. We're just doing me perimeter checks there now.
Yeah, it's a bit Stevie Bold, isn't it?
Stevie Bold? What do you mean Stevie Bold there now? What is this, some sort of dialect you're speaking there now?
Yeah, it's my, it's my language.
Your language there now?
Yeah, that's right.
Stevie Bold. Sounds like some sort of football player there now.
Yeah, it is actually, but it means cold. And Mork and Mindy?
I don't know what that is. Mork and Mindy. Oh, I know that one. It's windy.
That's right, that's right. And I'm off to the dentist to fix me Hampstead Heaths out.
Hampstead Heath, isn't that a park?
Yeah, but like, it's me teeth.
What about Bexley Heath? Is that teeth?
Well, suppose you could use that one. There's modern times and all that, innit? That's right. A classic one is the old, you know, Alice went up the apples and pears.
Oh, it sounds like she went to the fruit shop there now.
Yeah, but it doesn't rhyme. That's why it's called rhyming slang.
Rhyming slang. Right, okay. So, what happens then if I go to KFC? Let me make one up for KFC. KFC in Reggie language is chuckin'.
But KFC chuckin'. Doesn't quite rhyme, does it?
Right, what rhymes with C? I don't know. What rhymes with C? D.
Yeah, but you can't call it D, can you?
Bondi. Crocodile Dundee?
Nah.
Chuckin'.
Nah. Let's try again. KFC.
Well, I don't know. KFC. Chuckin'.
It's going to be a long day, innit? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, no worries. Goodness me. Never mind, you just have to use your loaf a little bit.
Me loaf? What do you mean? Like, no, I don't eat bread, it's a waste. Might as well just get more chuckin'.
Okay, that's one thing.
What do you mean use me loaf? What, like chuckin' sandwich?
Well, we could get there in the end there, Reggie. We're getting there, mate, we're getting there.
Well, what about Reggie? What about regiment? Do you have one for like, do you have a little, like, you know, rhyming slang for regiment?
I don't think there is one, but I'm sure we could have one, couldn't we?
Yeah. Rhyming slang for regiment is chuckin'.
No, you can't have that.
Well, why not? You made it up, didn't you?
Well, I guess so. It's going to be a long day. No, anyway, no worries. Hey, listen. I'll tell you what. Let's go over here, right? Let's go to the sweet shop and go and get some sweets.
And I want chuckin'.
All right.
I want some Crocodile Dundee.
You want your tea?
No, I want me chuckin'.
Oh, goodness, mate. It's going to be quite a long day. I'm losing me marbles.
Oh, you play marbles? You're right there. Oh, regiment.
No, Reggie, no.
There you go. You're right. Fix your back now, mate.
Ah, you... Goodness me, what are you? Hi. Guten Tag, my name is Jens from Germany. How are you? Ah, yes, I see. I see. This is your home? Yeah, very good. Very good. Yes, Bundes. Do you play the Bundesliga? No. Okay. That's okay. Maybe we can train you. You'd be very good. You'd be very good as a defender. I see. With the your defensive mechanism. I see. Good. Yeah, it's very good defensive mechanism. Yes, I can see. Maybe not a goalkeeper. Yes. Maybe the Klinsmann. Let me see your feet. Very good. But I think as a defender. Yeah. Bundesliga. My name is Jens from Germany. I think you have an F-15 over there. There you go. So hot pitting doesn't always result in departures. They've filled them up and it's time to go back. So I think that could be it for today then, ladies, gents and teddy bears. Well, that is pretty much us done. But I hope you enjoyed it. It's I've certainly enjoyed it. I always do with all of you. It's always good fun. And a high five and a guards march to Hiker Trash 918. Welcome to the Ted Coningsby Squadron. A guards march to you. Jeff Villiers, guards march. Thanks a lot for the super. Thank you so much. Margot, thank you very much as well for the super. Guards march to you. Jay Borton, cuppa for Nikos and some salmon for Ted. Thank you so much for the super there. Guards march. Melody R, thank you for your 8-month service. Morning from Canada, I'm going to guess that. Philip Howard, high five. Guards march, thank you very much for joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Richie B, thanks for being a member for 21 months. Slowly getting closer to my green badge. Nice one. High five and a guards march for EP65. Thanks for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Thank you very much. Johnny B, 28 months of my little mate Red Ted and Planes 2, guards march. Alan Q as well, thanks a lot for the super as well. Guards march to you. Ding, ding, ding. Right, well I think we're done. Squadron leader Ted Coningsby, you are absolutely wonderful at what you do. Thank you very much. Yes, right, left. Yeah. Thank you very much for your service. It's time for me to Bundes out of here. It's time for the Klinsmann. Goodbye, everyone. Dankeschön. Oh dear, what a day. Absolutely hilarious today. It's been good fun. It's just seeing it off. Do, do, do. Yep. Call it a day, Teddy. We are done. Right, ladies, gents, teddy bears, it's been an absolute pleasure this week. We've survived it. We have survived it. We did well. We got there in the end with 3+1 ad-lib stream, which was hilarious. I really enjoyed that. It was really good. I hope you enjoyed all the information about the Typhoon, and yeah, thanks a lot. And yeah, like I said, this could be the last time of the week and the last show, so there we go. Right, first of all, a big salute to the 48 Fighter Wing. Guns up, ride, fear the Reaper, and the finest, meanest, baddest. How you doing? Hope we're all good. Whatever it is that you do, have an absolutely superb rest of the week and a weekend as well. All our viewers and members as well, thank you so much for your support. It's time to ride. My name's Nikos. I've been your cameraman, historian and commentator. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby. You've been watching the Ted Coningsby channel live here at RAF Lakenheath. So, for the last time, maybe for the week, see you soon. Wish you well. See ya. Over and out. See ya. Oh yeah, ladies, sheds and teddy bears, welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel membership. I'm Nikos, I'm your cameraman and commentator. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby. Just want to say a massive thank you to all our members. Guns up and oh yeah. Take it away, Ted. Ladies, sheds and teddy bears, we want to say a massive thank you to all of our subscribers for getting us to where we are today. We have gone all over the country, from as far as Lossiemouth to Bryce Norton, and military areas such as air weapons ranges, low flying areas, heritage centres and special flights for TED 2. We cannot do this without your support, and your support will be rewarded. You can now join the Ted Coningsby Squadron and help fund the channel to get us around the country and provide us with the funds for equipment to bring you better content too. We have 3 levels of membership to suit everyone. With your membership, you'll get access to members only videos, photos, posts, unlock special Ted Coningsby YouTube emojis and loyalty badges, as well as being able to access our exclusive members only Discord server. All membership levels reward you with discounts to our online store. Our top level Fighter Squadron was inspired by many of our fans who supported the channel massively. This is more of a personal experience with me and Ted, giving you exclusive live streams and content from behind the scenes photos, special info and updates, as well as a free Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron patch for joining. Whichever membership level suits you, we want to say a massive thank you for choosing to join the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Ah, yeah.